Yama munyina chema bakwa ba United Television sunnie no watcha ponse maduasa enson ena eye memene da ena ye August day to so edunson 17th August 2024 ena ebraso se dwumadi eto no di critical issue e de brewo e da wase se memene da bi onya bre ne yetena efiri no wotwe ekokopim se ebebo dubaako ena ya hyase ena ebedi nkomo ena ebekasa na dia meka kakra no pe ni se nunsuo wate na nsuo ye yeso water is life ayampa se wonni nsuo a wonni nkwa nyama mienu ne hia dasama pa de di kan frama de to so mienu ye nsuo enti se wonu muso na no muso pa e ha adwene nhome frama na nhome frama pa e ha adwene saa nso na nsuo so tia no enti bisrawo so ba no muso a specialize nsuo na meka fode ma na no pe se bo modi asa bere bia no bi de osa hyewu ene de woto mu nyina no it is same thing na this way so don't forget say eye tea papa eno nti na kwase breni no mu yoka say what a tea na fi need fufu ni tabekwan so ma wure mfi digesting tem nkwa no so de enyuma kwe na no pe omoboa ama me dwumadi ya bremo na say de ene da no matade a me hye e wo fede a ena perfect man for ena seda no me de ma omo wo na asiesie me memne da no pa bia ena fei benada anajo no du perfect man for de bia me hye memne da no pa ene e benada anajo no du bia no perfect man for ene pam e de mame ene maye me ho o ya me kire no sa na me na pepepe nti me da wo mase se na no pa yi wo maboa mame nso me ho ayefefe me de dwumadi ebrewo na ene yebedi nkoma hodo bebre afa manyosam omansi kasam ene your campaign trail mu na campaign mu no niam hodo be na ekoso ensam hodo be na ebi no mu ka yesi kasam te sen ena ensam hodo bi esi edi nkomo bia no esefata ne ebedi nkomo na baso ebetu eso no asunsun so niam hodo eba voter register yebehwehwe mu yebetu aba na breben yen sign peace accord yen ensam bebre ene nkomo no Yebedin very, very extensively. As I said, the country is at a crossroad. And as I see, you will be. Yebeyan swampa. I no pay as it is. Ade ba kwa na magana ya danson o wiase nyina. Aye yesu. Na Ghana ya danso kra o nema hodo nyina nema bebre ho. Okọ bebre na se Ghana fo du e wo ho. Ana se agegefo beye oha e obabi a Ghana fo du na hunu wo mu anu se Ghana fo nie ye danson Ghana fo e wotema Ghana fo ye wodo Ghana fo brom ho ase Ghana fo mpa mo ho asem Ghana fo buade Ghana fo dwene ni nua Ghana ni ho enti se wo kwama no ne a those days Ghana ni etu kodo amane na ho hya ni nua Ghana ni no na kofie na waboa no bebi obeda na dwuma sem onya bebi a no so kon kakra sa enti no e magana ne ye danso niema bi a man hodo bi fo be ye no Ghana ni nya da bi esanse yesuro ye ho ye mpe ye ho asem ye do ye ho ye mpen yi mu ye mpen papa mu aditina Ghana ye danso pa wo ba fie so na sa netie memetina barracks kakra eni barracks abrabo kakra ehu barracks niema kakra na those days mutum se W01 way etumi kodi na W01 we fie na yira ye aduano mu mienu nyina to se didi kana we beko kana we fie na yira ye aduano mato se no madidi mejo we beko ni mejo we ho na we yira ye aduano no mato se no madidi ntisi we di omukodi we yira aduane ebia this weekend and next weekend e okọ na sa na etie that kind of cordiality that kind of oneness that kind of love, pure love no na e ho pa. Sana na police for tie. Sana na ye man for no krankasa no na ye tie. Ye no aduane a oti e de man neighbor. Sane ono so nye. Neighbor no so no aduane a na wate e de abre ono so ni neighbor. Be kan nipa fipanfo. Sana na tie enti na Ghana na ye danso a onema hodo bi hu. Na so na ye te saa. Ene niam asesa ene sa esuna na ma Ghana ye soronko no asesa e de na mana basa ene sa Ghana ni di atama won fere ho da bi uko social media airtime and send me a on Ghanaian characters be a on Ghanaian and a koso. Said the penny so yaketwa and fadi okasano obedia tama use unprintable words at the fudipano. It's on Ghanaian near Tessa. And then you watch him, you say, who am I your 70? And then you watch him, you say, who am I your 70? And then Dobby or to me calling your Dobby of Fee and Codidi. Police in the to me police who fear to me Codidi. Sana was secretary justice in the moon. As I say, I'm on your summer chair, perceived NDC, perceived MPP. And then another man handful. Akwa sir. Perceived na way NDC ni, perceived na way MPP ni. Enti akokodre se na tumi nyande kasa se na no. Won tumi nkasa esa na manyosam ti omu ache. Nso na no mu aya tentre ne fo, omu bu atentre ne. Enti titi ye we kurase anase okuro bi no boni bi si a asem bi si de kwa hemfie da na tenase na wadi asam no na kotu ni ho obu asam no enti no so wadi asam kwa hemfie na ebu asam no wi a asam no etu atwa isa se atentre ne na wodi be ye adwuma enne okọ judiciary okọ amanyu atemu mu a ajaji for ni bi yeso mu ye MPP ajaji for ni bi yeso mu ye NDC. That is the perception. I remember one judge be Supreme Court judge Atuguba. At the point to go papa so horror papa na nya sam ketwa as if say ruling because ono no di panel na nim no already ruling no atem edi nya sam ketwa otemofo nka ne doche retired ono so sa enti de come say ade baby e mu acheche baby a efie kure mu acheche yen central for kure mu acheche bebre perceived NDC perceived MPP. Enti we kwa no akokari ne wo nsam poto ada che party A party B we so kwa no akokari ne wo nsam poto a che party A party B a party union so black. Meanwhile na ntisa politics enti eno kodwa mu asa babia edidi afa ho and gradually that thing is destroying the country Ghana na yenimu no en kakaka neme say de enimu no hwe Bible yes Christo ka se bi o so wa mo a ya so made so abre na moko mu buo mo mra me nchen na mama mo ahome enti obra wiase ne koda na ne da adwe nyina tete yen no bebi e ko ne se ye ko Nyankopon animu a ye benya ahome enti Nyankopon na musifo a ye nimu omo se de be ka no e ya sofo e wo Ghana e wo wiase Ghana hebi wa ha ene amanyosam ewura sofo no mu omache bienu hu we ye NDC sofo we ye MPP sofo eti no kra no ho ye ntumi nka oha bi ho ye ntumi nka ye mache bienu obibia mu gradually nyame fie ankasa ne man anka nsese koso na ka bibia mu da ho fan no emu ache bienu nipa ahinie Nyankopon ahinie na yesa o nipa ahinie nipa tumi obenyanti no asori fie so ma chemienu aya no kore ya didin sa ama niema bi boboba niema bi boboba esan se biribi wo ho na se ebie obi ko hu a onipa re betumi anya kokodura kokoka no onkonkoka obeye din be a party we ni and a party we no wa ban mu nti no mehwe amade na sei edidiba boboba ene yenso nyina sei kwa nyina sei akadema bi wo ho a Ghana fo sura asempa Ghana ni sura sei ye be chi nimpo sei wadi bone na so ene emrante agya kokoduro atumi eye videos odi bone no na wo ye video no that to social media hey wodi bone a etia omaye mra no na waye no dia to social media on social bio e Ghana nie mo me share video bi bebre asisi na yan ye kokoo yi a yenim say ye kokoo no na Ghana obi adi ni mu ye no ye twa kokoo gu e de galamsey na brantie bi ade oyeye me yara ho kakra fine momie hwe video no tiawa
me go crazy am ah na ndidi na ndidi abai na abai no ndidi ye ya za ko ndidi a o se abai sa de on bre top money empandi on ba meche o owai akufo ado ana akufo ado no ka do ndidi o ya kya kra ko on pe on send me am edabe hey yeah so ga la ba kukula la hey da ba bulo hey abanje ya cheko ko ni ku because o ma top money e be chani na we na be cheo dido o sene sika jana na ya yi ba mo chi abo jamu o de woni ya wo kawo me ko crazy am ah na ndidi na ndidi abai na abai no ndidi ye ya za ko ndidi a o se abai sa de on bre top money empandi on ba meche o owai akufo ado ana akufo ado no ka do ndidi o ya kya kra ko on pe on send me am edabe hey yeah so ga la ba kukula la hey da ba bulo hey abanje ya cheko ko ni ku because o ma top money be chani na we na be cheo dido o sene sika jana na ya yi ba mo chi abo
Tolong ye fu ahe. Tolong kadmu fiskal. Na adleri yo. Tolong kadmu. Iro fa yo. Tolong kadmu. Ushash.
De ekoso no wow they do things with impunity we efrihi wow no twa kokko dua no wote asem okan ya ese so edidi aban no nidi won so no bo mampanin din no akufo ado no you see so disrespectful it's un-Ghanaian won so no bo nidi just like that Ekufo no ano for camera and top money mra ni di an se betwa ni nyina I mean no why hwe police ni mu a ya galanso efo ye no and that's the reality and no ba ko bia me hu ye wa hu me nim ye epepa ko ye abent wa dress says a combatant ibi na utum se eye forest mu no wo ena wa bonu ya said ya galamsey for the year ena pick up si wo no kretuo ena camera si so ono nanti back pop no page atuo wa ye be man brother po otuwie no kogina no wakata nanim se na boko ram for kata o manim no sa pepepe eno na mehu ya na adwone na mehu ne ye ya ifiro na ka be se be yi na police for hwe gradually ye piapia man akọ baby boko ram start ye no e hyase nkitinkiti bi hye no so Womo edi saboni nyina no sa jihadist fo ne Boko Haram fo ne enwirem no motate na pa. Womo tena kurum otena wirem no ma be operation no ma san akọ. Ane edi galamsey yi ne management no womo egu wirem mbrante egu wirem a niema womo ye no. Momi yesori so manyu. Na se anhwe ye ne etena se ne etete ho ne etete ho ne etete ho ne etete ho before we realize no na aye too late. Na aye too late politics inti yentumi twa na mo efe na nsi fom say ade we akwai esese yetu na mo ne ade na nsi fom say hey yampene ma ne nko so ni etumi atu na mahwe ni asiesie ni yenye o yetete ho saa ye ne bebe a ho so no na agye nsamu umyehwe bibi yo we might think say asam kese beba it's far away from us. No, it is not. Etani ehwina no heya ne ye humiko emu a ebe wura ye hwinim. The culture of impunity no si ahwe nto wana mo ne nye ho bibia de manim yara ahwe anya bibia yeso ye gana sunu ya sama na maba kibio wa asam ebetu yen yeso banyansafo hui yebu be nanso yen kana asam yen twa ho ne emra ye ba ye be hyase na bedwafo adi nkomo mo ntwa yen. awie edamase yakwaya yaba braso se hyaase na yedi enkomo nene yede yesikasam tutuye na be hyaase sanse ese kurumbere ya oda no ani obutom ena sika ye moja enti so man bi yesikasam gya na nanso eboa se nkoye nso a ha adwene nanse ba beto dwa se oman yi dollar no o say stable there 15 Ghana cedis per dollar 15.5 per dollar ebi say 16.2 per dollar ni nasefo na yemisa se we nyina achi ni IMF aye wo ne niam abako minu miense be masi kasam ekeka kosen esanse nche beto aba edu aba to bre so yenim se de aye nes kasam to tuesi ekofa na nansan pani ba kwa bills kasam to tue mu pa wa adwuma Bank of Ghana mfie bebre na ye kasam to tue nso a ne hu nimde de obi pa ono na director of research edema IEA Dr. John Kwachi akasa adefa omansi kasam se de sitie ho ebia wonte ya ye beti ne de enti doc kwa homa no se ni bedi nkomo e de afa saa ensem doc ano pe ma wachi hello doc pa chote menka
me ti onka ye ja ma je so ye ja
yo doc say o te menka de a mesra na me bisa se omai se yesi kasam no sen na esitie dollar no ne cedi no na ho de se de sitie ne se ne mesi kono adaroma wo hunu ne sen
well ya mekan say well economy number ya share no the trend over time and say the dia we free eba any ya drew 2022 there economy no be akoko giant no na ya kwa just indicators in 2022 COVID no and Ukraine war can be but yeah can say domestic management of the economy and also weaknesses were honey identity la can bomuna they could do by the I do 2022 no if you want no back this year and then there indicators need about a form just a trendy there were correct direction. They can indicators now normally they share economic growth. First quarter now, Ghana Fiscal Service are publishing data, and they normally economy grow by 4.7%. Was first quarter now. I just already compare previous year, and I just a high. But no crano, just the first quarter because. Your program, what's your document now? IMF projection for the whole year and cry 3.1%. Let's say, I said first quarter a growth no yet much higher than the rest of the year, no. And I just a growth no so much than IMF for projecting. What's your inflation? Your back from if 54%, is equal the last about 20%. And they are not so it's moving in the right direction. But the fact is, yes, because inflation, ever from the internet, say, and near my boy, and now the cost of living, conform. No, the cost of living still cost through, but cost through at a slower pace. Instead that year no increased by 50%, maybe as I say, increased by 20%. And nothing still amount for better say, oh. Inflation is so thick, but you won't for 2 million because price level no, they are still high. Maybe so bad count, maybe bad count, but a slow down kakra. What's your exchange rate you know? In fact, this year I depreciate you already by about official rate crowd, for official rate no. About 20% already this year. August you know. You knew the end of the year yet. And even though compared to last year, depreciated by entire year, no, by 28%. You see? And if they say I knew the end of the year, no, I was 20%, no. Yes, and oh, I improved so much now. Stability now, one more cano. Now say, Yana, 15 honor, now cost to Kakra. Na tiaba from kakra cost to kakra na tiaba from but we say overall trend no upward we say uko forest bureaus now I do by 16 Meanwhile, no, yes, 30 year, no, end of 2023. Now you're just about 12. Which is a good trend, it's still going up. And you feel it, and you feed into imports, high cost of imports. Young income, individual income, eroded because of exchange rate now, cost. It's our stability, and yet that stable. 20% already in the year. By the end of this year, could be 25%. It could be 30. It will be a name. And it looks like Bank of Ghana interim market move very strongly. And also, because almost inflows via the IMF and by Thursday, you say inflows never been yet sufficient. The Bank of Ghana bit me intervene very strongly now. What stabilize the idea? And maybe our market, no, Ecotonka banks, no, any importers. No, so watching own reserve. Now, I'm not intervene, Papa. But, yeah, I move because I didn't rely on even external inflows. They are called the World Bank, they are called the IMF, and now even bilateral partners. Answer now, yet a bit with their support your currency. I didn't know better. When you are on my mono, you resources for natural resources. You bet me a tap with you start correct contractor. You bet me and you enough and you are back in the currency. If I'm a Bank of Ghana, if you are almost reserves about 6.5 billion, which is not enough. The Bank of Ghana to make building the reserves are you good. You own more, no, the Bank of Ghana, no, they support to now build the reserves now. Could see, would they uncover 15 billion over time? And nobody ever support to currency now, my currency next Jinakra. But you're now, those money are the that chance, you bet you are no back, and now foreign flow out now. That a quite a fasting, yes, sustainable.
Doc, what dear mammy, Missa, what can't say a bit to me any reserve winner, my jamba baby sukakra. Now say your chest said a bear, exchange rate in the bit to me, Gina ne Nasifuntino. Yes, you say black market for no Kahubi, and a Makok Bassa, I'm an answer, one way says care for a butcher fui, Yaquako chibi. Would you say, sir, to church butcher for no, and no bet to me a boama, exchange rate, no, say that if you cost no to me about for my.
Well, I can say, sir, black markets are flourishing. And for one more time, one more price in dollars, real estate, any other no. And then for one more speculating in dollars, one more hard, dollars, almost hard, any other. We know your symptoms of problems with the foreign exchange management. Well, I have something, sir. We manage foreign exchange in nowhere. Now, I give rise to some of these things. If your friend say, what may you something? But media makes me believe, sir, on my piano, or foreign exchange laws, As I said, we make sure, sir, and control oil. And the America cry $1 a year or the crown. Oh, I mean, want to mean trading, and you'll be now between a trading, but to crown out the dollars they buy. Yes, I will declare. And they move your say a foreign exchange loss, no dear. As I see you making sure, sir, I'm out for 80 so. And they said, oh, and such a toy near in dollars. And such a Ghana near Yajma. $200. Obi kwako Jessica a traveler. As I saw the documents they come. And I will be a transfer because abroad on the net. I know the might be a mono. Yeah. But the person says, one managing with foreign exchange, so well enough. A Burma family, my way, so I imagine, I many friends have something. Now, you know, instead of addressing the main problem, now we could attack the symptoms, you know. We could attack the symptoms, you know, one any official rate now, increasing, you know, all because symptoms. It increased in the past and now foreign exchange markets not working well, no. The difference between official rates and foreign bureau rates, no, now less than 5%. But the same year, just a widening. Bank of Ghana could to the official rate here still below 15. Meanwhile, foreign bureau rate here 16. And the symptoms. The one solve the underlying problems now, we can attack the symptoms now. And also, and sustainable. And then drive most of the activities no further underground.
I see. Doc, I did back one, and I'm saying, see, and it's a mampeni, and as I bang it on a mobile or say gold refinery beer. Yeah, we have piano and no bebois. Or can we able to me for so bomber city net to me, Gina?
Yes. Building refinery, whether or processing plant, you know, whether for gold, whether for bauxite, whether for cocoa. I know there a good policy because instead I export to natural resources in raw form, no. I no value no. I was Nisano. In enough foreign exchange free. You know, say you process your natural resources locally near added value. As an exporter, there's nothing wrong with that. But to say that just building a gold refinery, because there's a value addition, they are accepted. They will add value to your gold, you know. But the fact is that just building a gold refinery, you know, and no before you know the city, you know, as I but in and I don't quite by itself there. I don't believe that. The most important thing is gold, you know, you own as much of it as possible. Because if you got a refinery in our building, Obi gold, and you're Ghana deal, Obi gold, Mumna, or refinery amano. If you say, be a wire, what's it saw? So, maybe oil. Now, Obi oil, Momuno, Waji, process, mano, and one cataudia. The most important thing is what I want to hear and say, your side contract are good now, yeah, mine, no. Then Ghana pulling at least 80%. Not foreigners, no, after 20, instead of the other way around. And no, dear, society, material, dear. Say, oh, and the Maya boost to Yankasa gold reserves now. Your bell lodge with Bank of Ghana, now that supporting your CD now. Maybe that's what I want to hear.
That's yes, I come here say, you'll be back aside or quite your first one. Your person, your day at Tunia Mama, your dollar no, ni CD who some Nijinano. I quite say, I hope prene. Mesomuha, Mejamuha, Mesomuha, yen Triminia clear cut policy bia. Yes, way and a year policy more do and only a bit to Regina so they are to Casamo to Tiano. Who wouldn't say, sir, I can say, you really say, Afufantono and Bibisa, you really can't near Ricacri, and to me find son so moo and can say, way and a year, I bet me a boy.
About me no yard, Juniper. No yard, now. Thank you, Minuetia. Me and Catakrama wouldn't say, me propose 17 different measures. If you face out, there's be a short term, a medium term, long term. Options are, if you say, you take care, at least you're the best stabilizer you see, on a lasting basis, durable, basis. 17 measures, and giving me experience. While we were Bank of Ghana 20 years, we were IMF 10 years. But put all this experience together, and I'm saying this is the way to go. And the economic managers, almost person almost say, 17 measures now me suggest useless. say yen to me be and is it because it is coming from Dr. Kwachi? But does it matter? Even if it is coming from Dr. Kwachi, now who feel it make it sense? Use it. I agree with you. Said you follow politicians, no candidates, no presidential candidates, no we can say. In fact, the last you can say there. Dr. Baumiano, officially say no, the exchange rate, of the anchor the city, to gold. And you say, idea. In fact, economics, you say a currency system, a foreign exchange system, and only will be a friendly gold standard. And or might be a gold, a currency, exchange rate, would define in terms of gold. And then a fixed exchange rate system. You move us through what is that. As I say, I might be exchange rate system, flexible. That will allow no money called giving the supply and demand. If you move us to fixed exchange rate, that. And Ghana here adopted first Western rate since 1983. And it's a material Dr. Baumia Kaya. Now I say, a person here come back to a fixed exchange rate system, but the person can't find stressing it. Exchange rate, regime now be choose, whether fixed or whether flexible. So what manage your economy now get stronger. If you will not be sustainable, if you ain't helpful. In the final economy and can manage it strong. Meanwhile, the currency with the overall structural problems the currency so who making sure that there's enough foreign exchange back time one. And also that now is strong. If Dr. Babiano so catch them say making sure that gold your gold I mine then maximize the benefit. Now you a lot. Now the Amount Bank of Ghana, not the support to the CDDR. I can go with him. I don't have any problem with that. I continue to stress with the goal for oil. How can I say? One more announcement, some of us raised out there. No, a quan person a better help go for oil, Bank of Ghana, LDCD, Ecoto will be gold. If we're gold miner, Okoto the gold, and now the cities are man. Now the gold, and also crown with the Akoto oil. No, Okita, cities, no. Or if you're in Yanua, or mining company, foreign company, or no cities are the man in Yanua, and you are also the foreign market, and also the Akoto foreign exchange, or the outside. It's like I said, you are not solving any problem. If I'm not surprised because I'm a buyer and I'm starting a program, I'm almost just adding, I'm so almost stop. Almost just it's your almost time. That go for oil, Almost time. Maybe government has set up a committee or 40-member committee. And so I'm come out with a message that they stabilize the city. 40-member committee. That's another multi-policy committee. So. We tried a Bank of Ghana for the crown, no more can say Omicron, who were not properly consulted. After the set up committee. Committee is only how much my cocoa season. Well, I'm considered, yeah. You see, and see, Madam still say, the economic managers, no. Madam Macassa see, you say, one him how to stabilize it there. And the woman probably trying to be obeying I am Ramaya there, no. Because it's up into 17 points, no need I useless. Me giving my experience, me a doctor of economics. My Juma IMF 10 years. My Bank of Ghana 20 years. 80 maybe suggestions I'm making proposals, 17-point proposal. Obian dream for Bakukra and Yaju, how much trivia because it's coming from Dr. Kwachi.
Doc, it was the way forward. Baby, I may draw ne say the sequence and say one institutions be so some seven be my penny for because I'm refugee in Mecca my bachelor. I can say o man say kasam say na ye ka say o wo mu say e gira na so kakra de na so no si ahweye na de kitikiti bi kosi na ho ade no kwanto enuru say the covid do ye na o man say kasam no e be jagu kura kojoto ye ho hwea enyeyi say sanity ampa de na say so say ye ne sabri na say kobampo say oha bi koba a kire a anwoso yen ama yen san kwankosi fam.
Well, in economic measures, no policies media. You see, it be a long term, it be a short term, and be a medium term. Let's see a proper plan. And I'm saying, yeah, what I here for, yeah, publish it, yeah, document there, say priorities for the incoming government. You know, I cover about 15 area. Okay. You see the first say you try to restore macroeconomic stability. You are not there. Or might be and so have a stability first. Exchange rate, inflation, and you're making sure say you stabilize the economy. Because who stabilize the economy and if you want who consider the growth also better. When stabilize it, you know, that's the top priority. Of course, economic growth, infrastructure, and all those areas, no, yeah, you are making suggestions about 15. But an economist, no, you himself, self-person making progress, professor development. First, we hear policy or a good policy. You know, I know the economists for the agriculture and agriculture, we hear good policy. But why draw up for policies now? Then also we hear resources and how they implement policies. Developing countries you're poor, you're very good poor. Because all good policies now we need resources. Won't you any BBR? You see? And then your person, combine your policies no with resources no, and yes, and when you borrow, and the other called debt, and you are not repayment, and time go back to square one. Maybe the debt exchange, the crowd being what I have. And that's not the way to go.
Okay.
Natural resources. Your natural resources. I don't know because Dr. Bamia Crosby gold on say was $10 trillion underground. Gold bauxite my, manganese my, diamonds my, lithium my, uranium my, silicate my, oil, gas. And you know what is really your problem? What is it? In our resources, no policies in there. We can all help to put the right policies together. What do we do now?
Okay.
Of course, as you stabilize, as I said, government budget, as you making sure that expenditure, efficiency, almost equal cost to all. As you mobilize the revenue, you close to all the loopholes, but in the end, you may not even raise enough revenue because the economy needs that.
Okay.
Now, natural resources are only lowest hanging fruit.
Okay.
And now being a lot more resources. Now they are best support to the politics,
Okay. Doc, and
if go along that line, and yes, just firefighting, stop-gap measures, durable, lasting solutions. So,
okay. Doc, and that's Papa no woman. You should say, you best Anton Safrobio, no about studio. Now, come over, why a bedi na you should quite a bit to the Adrian fashion near to a day or man's customer to me, Jenny, and pay at our CP, no woman.
Okay, let's do that.
Joe. Opinion nutrition comedy, Dr. John Kwachi, or Director of Research at the IEA. Onukria yes kase mo benfo pa why adwuma our Bank of Ghana fear due no 20 years and why adwuma IMF nso in fear du na utie ni nsem kan mu atie nsem kan mu say or the 17 measures be by sanka anya hwe kura no ebetua for kwan bi so ma etum da toto niam ananso obi antie no na ye nam bebie nam ya nti ye behwe se ebekwa kosisen ya anopa bidjafo amene obedi nkomo eye menifa so Emmanuel Kutin on executive director Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism onukuri ya ni abrese ukosaboba abatu pesua so nso a miami no office aboba okoprese obeye independent or independent candidate mama nka ne sa manfo on behwe so de ato aba de amano nti sisi no me kan wom saboba fo tie no motoma na oye incoming MP wo saboba ni akwaba
Major so
bi aboko de
na me dia share no pe
de radio saboba from where
a chair from Saboba almost so mo ho a chair so meba
me fugu no na ba ko na me sie na me sam na me sie na anya ita ma hanapa
me de bia bro
ni na be share akọ we da say na fe me benkum so Eric Ochei o kan MPP communication team na Eric Akwaba bi aboko de radio say na fe dua ya kwanta de hye ya sompa o lawyer ni skasemu so wa ben ya Akwaba
ja
o ba na me hwe atade ya obo life rough so me gina one atade no hye no me hu bi kurada ya obekumi o
ja me da se
na gbachi tro mo de hye kronkron pa na obeka me sano po de hye ankasa na fom kura ya de hye mu de hye ankasa pa nti ancha hisa Excellency Sampiale so be hwe kwanso obeka yensa na fe ye di enkomo nti we de said American no ye kwa ne sa oche ma me hye fan fru sense mo na mo aban mu sabere otie ura dwonkwachi nsem okan komo twetwe ye ya e ka me se obiabie nsem awdo bi so kan nsem awdo bi akirikiri ma ye hunu se nyema bako menu miense bi wo sesi etumi hwetu wona mo se na be betumi aboa ama ma esi kasa matumi agina na nse yes inflation na 54 abafon be do 20 point something percent fa say 20% ye fa ne sample keke na inflation no ukọ marketing so a reflect sa eniama no bo se de tie sa na tie say ne ma bi ana inflation ewo about 54% about 50% no 60 cedis na so for nyina na bedu 20% so still na no ejina bibi ejina ene anama yetu petre ye we kakra yeso mu a wo ne se ye adwuma no se de se ye no ene da so bi oba bi ene se de ne masi etia na mama osima be ye abo 9:30 enti mama osima be ye en son
meet anasiba
sima ye minute sima ye minute your Excellency Sampiale so be kan so your Excellency Akwaba ye da sipa no wo mre nso o ya de sense wo hwe ni age anopa bi oba ha na misu no nanso o man hu donti
you want to retire me
eto chema ye hwe ya kwa na se ye by sense ya kan hina no eni brisamo
ya Jacobra me fa koyen na menchia Ghana for nyina ne most especially NPP Ameriku share ya me aduma ochina na ebekwa kopa ya manifesto e motuma e wo tapale se dodo na ko iwia na yeso so yebobo ana na ya ko na Ghana for nyina na be chia mi nyana mo so mpelifa ndu mo so ehia wa yes Jacobra very good na me tie Dr. Kwachi. You see, sometimes say, oh yeah, so you be. I mean, my faculty na me financial godfather. Na me no European Stock Exchange. You see, currently on the advisor to Central Bank, European president for European Bank, Barroso, baby, will be in Cham. You see, at any point in time of economy, economy akwa say football obo say Madrid any Barca ekobobo or kind of information or the bebo and I say only Atletico Madrid and so koba or kind of information on the bebo fact na dog can be about fixed exchange rate system say 1918 there be I bet to differ many nyadwen Why? The time no say you can say fixed exchange rate system. Say or peg or currency to other currency or commodity. Now or the economy said the bear obit me the stabilize the way. Now we share good for oil. You are Dr. Haji Mahmoud Baomi at the buy. Now we share Ghana. Now you call we are seeing now we hear mu called in fact we share American Petroleum Commission. Ya omona omutu oil no kesiye pa. A day no mutimi to about 9.6 million barrels a day. But so tiya at about 6.7. Yeah, we had a deficit daily about 2.7 million barrels a day. Yeah, we are seeing now a highly competitive. So obi e kwa bede. Now we all know that a simple economic knowledge. When demand exceeds supply, definitely there's going to be a shortage in the market, which will automatically boost the price to also goes up. So the government came out with this fixed exchange rate system. Yeah, one, you peg your commodity, your local commodity to that of what? Either your currency to that of the foreign currency or your commodity that you have to other commodity that you have to have in the exchange. Yes, of course, our bilateral system is here. It started here by American Franklin D. Roosevelt. It took place in 1931 when Americans were under great depression. And it helped them. Currently, we are one of the most variable a year, currency, Russian rubles. And you ask yourself why? Russians is using now the fixed exchange rate system because what catch yourself or no oil. About Russia drilling oil in a large quantity. On no supply Europe Oba at first wo be talk I don't know with you can say euro. Oba instance of person we are seeing an person currency is also very strong in it. The only thing that he needs to do is that because Russia one he is not an emerging economy or frontier economy. He's on its own developed economy. And we're drilling in a large quantity. So the idea of 7 years, say, let me go into that fixed exchange rate system. Into euro now they turn also into the euro. Change the euro to the Russian rubles. Never everywhere. That is what he is doing. And no, I'm an idea abuano. So Ghana also tells no see there be gold in your tunu ha. Me de kwama no ne. Makoton the dollars. Masadi aba. Look at the time, and you realize that if you go share the forest trading platform on daily basis, they have a huge market of over $437 trillion per day. And as currencies are moving on around the group, Obia tries to bringing the economy back on track. And it's about circulation of exchange rate. And business or in finance, 1 minute is a precious time. Or finance weather and other economical weather. They say value of time. You don't joke with time. And Messesa, me the dollar gold in the beko, makoto dollar no, me diaba. Look at the time duration. No. Now with the global market, let me go to the stock market and see. In Kronkro ahodo say, ena omoye into oil production. Ya meet me akọ bede. So one, oko the trading platform ya omnyoma mienu. Ba akọ friend say OTC. That is the over the counter trade system. Two, your ba akọ your friend say the stock exchange stable. And also the brokers or the intermediaries. Ya almost beba be them. Yeah, negotiations in the amount. No, so let's go to the OTC system of trading. I have gold, you have oil. Now, global market, oil no at what price? Any year turn will be at $2 per barrel. Gold no so with the same value of the same quantity of it. Any day. Okay, then why don't I peg this system by using the fixed exchange rate system? May peg the commodity to commodity without going out there to sell the gold, getting the dollar, bringing it back,
taking the dollar back to go and buy the gold and look at the time situations. And top dollar no every economy no it's a way say government a quarter dollar. Say despite media quarter dollar. Many pay also quarter dollar. There will be too much pressure in the dollar. I don't mean live with the dollar system into the local industries. Now omunu in play with it. Now many government mean use the commodity to peg it at a system in order to get that commodity and use.
It is a gold for oil as some okay. I would can say
yes.
Yeah, they commodity.
It is a doctor no can
me that say yan share. What say na some kind?
Yeah.
Gold for oil no. Yeah, jana say that so yeah.
Oh, all I make say economic system no. Your short-term measures, your medium-term.
Go for oil, not a short-term, and I say medium-term.
Because at the bar, say you need to put certain measures in place to make sure, say, you know, so where the air cost. Because gold for oil was in two phases. One, you use that fixed exchange system to get the oil. Two, you need to groom your reserves. In fact, your coffers recently here about me and you are the buyer. As at that time, your reserve is around 7 tons. Now we are whooping up to 73. So it tells. Yes, tons. Yes, I'll get it. Because we are 7. Recently, we should about me speech or the buyer.
Who can you the benefit of our listeners?
Please, if you have anything, write it down because I will help you. Yes, okay.
And Kasa, maybe so
okay, good.
Me that's it. Yes, say good for oil policy, no?
Yeah.
Dianka, if I say, me try to move, I say, meet me a CBB anwa. Me try to mona na mona ye. Ye, then the major, make us one my. It's a aboa me pa. Say good for oil policy near dear aboa ye pa dear. Then I am for more some more boy. I may face some. I'm managing and say, so go for oil policy, no? It's
a very good critical question. She so called a Britain Wood institutions, not some more yeah, mamo. Criteria be brave, conditionalities. Now, I am if you are hedging that you are not to exceed this amount in terms of your purchasing or your trading. And with that short measures, so I buy what I say, okay, well, say a moment I buy na a hochra bar no police will say boy. IMF has come out. That's how good for oil policies, no. Even though money are coming out now in Ghana, we never experienced say a shortage of fuel. Yeah, maybe a terminal Uber Soya no papa na Uber Cochrane fuel and anything. Antono. About that short-term measures has put in place. What is the next level? The next level is what? Reserve to back your currency, and it's ongoing. He gave the figures verbatimly.
Yes, they tell me beside me, Cassasimi. Me person would send more here, Kakawada Roma. Say, yeah, the gold for oil is say, you know, a idea, ye de Juma, ye de Juma, and a boy, yes, Cassam. Tio, you see, your economic recovery, some of no, and Tebia Yaka. You see, Cassam, the Shaman, I send you. And you're going to say gold for oil, and say, no, a boy, yes, Cassam. Gold, you see, 2-3 Ghana. And a boy, say, Cassam. Nessa Bontin, soon, Becca say, Jana, dear Bonas, also tell us, Jaya. Oh, say, dear, one pa, I can't die.
And you say, Jana, the whole can say, the woman can say, outrightly, Jai, now the oil and M. Wow. And I'm beginning of my sadness, he said, say, issues ban a problem bar. You sit down, look at the short-term measures.
Short-term measures?
Yes, short-term measures. And look at the short-term measures. And I'll be at the inflow of fuel in this system. And we all know that one of the major sources of economic growth is transportation. And Ghana, our major source of transportation is transport. And that is fuel. Okay. And you all bear witness. I don't know if they will all be sincere. And if I now call who say there was a shortage of fuel. But gone are the days. We all witness near to Kurumwa. Over story no pap. As early as 2 a.m. When we say the fuel tank about this one, but we have been wabu. But a binary policy or the bank that short-term measures Yes, a boy.
It's a dear no yeah. Oh, good for the guy.
No, so good to be guys good for oil, no, what jay and also
policy.
Reserve. They say no, buying air tries also be a reserve.
Go for oil near jay. Me
never can see a jay and I see so. I buying a reserve no way. And as DNA MPP are buying so has benefited everybody. Wow,
me that say, oh, then can be said me sign. Ebi sa kwesi bi asama ko nua no mpanyifo so nanso mame kom na yehwe wo kan bi about Russia say Russia for omusika gire nanso pa Russia oil no mutuo no eye wo modea eye o man ne dia Ghana ye go do ye tuo no how many percent na ye Ghana for dia betu aka say eye o man ne si dia nti betu agina so aka say ye betu aka say ye pegin say nti no betu mi aboa pa how many percent na Ghana ye wo as o man e ka go do some say mining companies to go do nyinara enya Ghana dia ye percentage omu ye ketekete bi China for go do mu tu nyina no enya Ghana for dia ni nyina omu de ni nyina continue ho no 2 minutes bi na fe ye
say o share my Ghana ye percentage in good a year one you will be a friend say upstream your downstream and the various sector that is the last one we distribute. Now one so the fact the royalties there is a percentage of dividend 5%. After so too good no the net you say be able to good maybe 100 tons you have 5% of it. Sana gold industry no so no aba starting almost aba be human expenditure almost previous say R&D research and development preparation of the land, that is the upstream. So now I buy no what is called the corporate tax on that, which is about 35%. And then that's what they call public sector accounting. All the above for 35%. And so the gross profit. After even the gross profit, there is also another 25% of the working capital of that. And so the net 5% per year. People are not just getting the profit.
Me cry the what crime you know when I can what do Russia they
yes, but minimum must calculation because we are the royal percentage of it that is the royalty 5%
corporate tax no the many no so tax na me tua the body of adena kasa na nyame enya na say no kakra na me to na esa wo dia ma be se me tua to na the padena nyame wo dia o yes Russia no ade na ne dia and no kwakoton nti ono be chesika fa beto yes and so dey nya wo dey nti and na kan person ka doctor no he should na go explain what the meaning of emerging economy and frontier economy but oh yes ono no kan to no go jaro no me ko ultimate can say no jaro na me da say Ima what say the Dr. John Kwachi ni some kan ye say come here say ade no ya no asa akwada oni fufu dey so oni fufu ni se no otiti chop it sorry abewe na ono awame fufu no so a wasai no aye sopi nema na ye wo hwe say the economy na eko you say inflation about 20% and so come marketer reflect wo hosa even though you say enya dey reflecting 10 term there but the rate are now 54% na about 20% is what is say cheap ntanya hwekra no say na metumba from kakra so no yehunu ne sa na utie submission wo nua so eye ya mami ti wadwe 10 minutes
yo eja mi da se mami fa wa kuje so na chia ambassador he is our father here and me nua lawyer. This is the first time me share me nua from my former party MPP me who say he's struggling with a lot of the distance.
I'm not struggling.
Sabuba for okay, say me was Sabuba for a very important funeral. The Kunkumba Youth Association General Secretary Nimami Akabe been there you know. It was Sabuba. Very important funeral in KSA Miho, but due to unforeseen circumstances, any national assignment say. And Elvis, me wish you Yako. Now back to your question. First of all, my main kind about the good for oil, Dr. John Kwachi Kayeno. In fact, I'm surprised say MPP has abandoned the project as a result of IMF conditionalities, like my brother was trying to say. But I say, MPP this our program, the buy, the trumpeted that it was going to reduce our fuel prices. Okay. So I want to know, what is the cost to the state after abandoning this program over a short period of time? It's very important. Accountability.
Yeah.
The cost to the state. It is an avenue for you to set your eagle eyes and do investigations about why that program was stopped and the cost to the state. Now, back to the Enaminuaka about the fixed exchange systems. Mini daughter John Kwachi Ajimpa, I did economics in school. And there's something many people don't know. I did statistics and I did one of our masters in development management, which is essentially economics. Meaning, look, the fixed exchange program works when you have comparative advantage in the production of a commodity. Like in the Russian case, Ukraine, they have absolute comparative advantage in the production of their oil and their what? Their gas. That's why he rightly mentions say the Russian currency is rising against other, Over Ghana, you need absolute comparative advantage over the production of our gold.
Also imagine.
Critically or essentially, we don't even own majority shares in these companies that are producing for us. Who mentioned stock exchange? What is the current state of the Ghanaian stock exchange? Because Dr. with my little economics I did, you sought to disagree with him. That's why I was raising this.
But I wanted him to be.
And even what is this even the state of our financial system with the many haircuts that Ghanaians have gone through and we are still going through? Just recently, your finance minister came to apologize to Ghanaians over the painful haircuts Ghanaians have to go over the collapsing of those banks. With the banks that will collapse, you remember, with how much money when we could have even injected less to make those banks profitable.
That's true.
So, media, I agree with you. Principally because as an economic student, I cannot understand the foundation of your argument. So I go with what Dr. John Kwachi said. But on him, Chrome Hano, ya politicize bibia. Into obi wanya sakra na ebebo omana obi amfa. Look at a very experienced man like Dr. John Kwachi. As an economic student, I read many of his books and articles. I think at the time, now we're afraid IMF about a Juma or Bank of Ghana. And who beside the economic student in Ghana, Dr. John Kwachi books are boy bebre. And you can go and find out. This is public knowledge. So to sit on TV, just because of political expediency, to discredit a personality like Dr. John Kwachi, and let's come to inflation. Look, now, I can say it was 54, about 20.9, and still prices are not going down. My basic understanding of inflation coming down is that it doesn't necessarily mean prices are going to fall. It means that the rate of increase in the pricing is not as much as it used to be. True. That is what inflation means. So when politicians are using the drop in inflation as a yardstick to measure the performance of the economy, I think that we are not ready to develop our country. That is academic dishonesty. And every student of economics will tell you that the rate of inflation, to say pen weigh 20 cedis, na inflation here the 50, let's assume na inflation na about 30%. It doesn't mean the price is going to drop. It means that ebe increase increase as 50%, ebe increase as 30% meboa. And we should not be even celebrating as a country when we are having double-digit inflations. Even Matisse UK, almost there about 2 point something, and there's an uproar. Now here they are 20.9 there. I think that we need a national consensus. The economy is a place we shouldn't play politics on. And people like us who are independent-minded, Mr. Oba to contest as an independent candidate. No, I've not endorsed any of the presidential candidates. If you are from our constituency, no, you're NDC near Kotuma NDC. We are MPP near Kotuma MPP. But the representation at Tuma Saboba, and I represent Saboba. And I think what Saboba needs, and Ghana as a whole, is independent-minded people like us who can unite this polarized country we find ourselves. We are so polarized. Even obi the idea back, na a good thing now, because you are not coming from the other side, no, and all the time we are living legacy debts. Look at inflation. There are a lot of implications because when prices of goods remain high, salaries and increase. What does it do to your disposable income? It weakens it, and we share Ghana even under the IMF program. My government or abiding space, any fiscal policy to put money to development projects. We say most of our monies are going to debt servicing in Nema. And that has brought about the surge in youth unemployment in this country. Look at the rate of youth unemployment in this country. You know the consequences? It could bring a lot of tensions in this country. And if we don't take time, the Eba Kenya, it can happen here. So I'm just appealing to the political class. May enjoy the politicization of our economy. Na yakwako for figures about even statistics that are now existent, just to throw dust into the eyes of the Ghanaian people, just because we want political power. Basa, if there's instability in this country, you know why? It's the political class that suffers. Because of the high rate of inflation, it has brought about inequalities in the country. We share the rate over the period. It has widened, maybe. Only few people are having money. And you see one other thing we are not checking. Other than Ghana, we have very beautiful laws. We share Bank of Ghana regulation of foreign exchanges. Very beautiful laws, but implementation becomes a problem because the political class are behind the surge in all of these things. We talk about black market. Who are behind the black market system in Ghana? Who can hear the political class? And look, as a security analyst, we are doing some work on the money laundering, especially in Africa. And we have come to the realization that because of the strong international systems, many politicians in Africa are not able to take their ill-gotten wealth abroad. So they channel these resources through the black markets and rare estates. Ghana and there, you have a lot of many houses that are springing up there, they are empty. And you ask yourself, who are the people behind this development? We can easily check this thing. Is that not it? Yeah, if somebody is doing it, what is the tax obligation of this person to the government? So these are the challenges. And look, let me was South Africa recently. You can't spend any currency apart from the rand. Is that a difficult thing to do in this country?
That's what I was expecting the man to say.
Is that a difficult thing to do in this country? If we say that in Ghana, we are no longer going to accept the dollar, the euro.
Unless you do that.
Exactly.
Forget about it.
What I was expecting.
That is okay, so doctor, you are expecting him to say, I don't know, say more implementing.
Oh, nothing I said. He just, balancing what the government is doing. I don't agree with him.
Look, if we can stop this thing, we stabilize our city and we stop political corruption. These hard currencies are in the hands of the political class. Go and check. So when we are tickling ourselves, come before the TV and we are not honest with the Ghanaian people, and we always try to throw that into their eyes because of political expedience. Well, posterity will judge all of us.
Me that say, Yahweh. In command ye di ohu. In command ye di. Well, I come here say, edu baby a Dr. John Kwache ni di nkomo yi. Me na me kan article pa wo chronicle. Otu se na dwemu do. Pa. Na onye partisan.
Yeah. Very independent.
Bia said the so ye no sa no ye ne pepepe. Onka se we ndisa na se we MPP. Oka ne se the so sika no. Oka se bi se anya hwekwa no su ehunu owo no. Bank of Ghana 20 years, IMF 10 years. Into nim nema bebre. Into ono so propose say anya hwekwa ye for 17 suggestions bi oso so say nke betumi de abo mu bakokora en fa anya adwuma. Nam de wie kutin de say so obi de adwen bi ba na say essence asemasi eni bi ntino anya de be ye adwuma. Would you say okwan ye for so ye sikasam yin? Enemy aba the inflation is this. This thing is that. The GDP, the why, and then as if you back up brofun kwa ye wi a. Me say brofun no me tin so me fanya hwe hu hia me. Dem hia ne say me ho ato me kakra. Na me ko gina say me to fuel 500 Ghana cedis a half tank you know. Me say some the 500 kwa nya hwe kra ne be almost full tank. And then as for ne metete sa. Yesi kasam. That don't quite can ye. Any anama hoda ban yi tuo. Any ye nua so de okkan ye ne ye mame ti otimadu. And then nkomo hwehwe bi wo say dipa hu hia me pan. 10 minutes.
Dey bi che ma dwen power kroma.
Ene dan ya.
Se me besi dan a won. Emfa ho ne so fi Togo. Obeba be metals amame because on nenim ye. Me bo mason ya emfa ho ne so fi me kroma. Me papa isi ni fie odwa nkwanta. Okofa mason for free breakum. And the better idea kwanta be see ni dan because wo hu omo nsa no adwuma. Beba politics a ye nhwe di obetimi aye mesha party color echi ma dream pa because me fa plumber emfa ho ne say oye party A na party B but e ba ne say na ye pay people to run economy sebi impanyifo omonima dey would support MPP by all means. People will support NDC by all means. It is not finding the common ground. Actually, it's something in my back studio so many times. I idea back one basi ene metnas na me dwen wa mente ase. Eba ne say na we become so polarized to the point that we can't intimate na say ending komo ehwe fact no. So I'm premising with that. Now let's look at the facts. Can go for globally currency regimes and as a quite fast sika. There are two broad categories. Fixed. You say 1800s na sika ya compounder e sika mudro into obe print coin obetra coin mudro. So sika basically in the olden days was tied to gold and silver. Those were the days. You move free hole to a it was a gold system, bimetallic system. We came to a gold back currency. 1971 US say on for gold in Chanika BM. We moved to a floating system through the IMF. They pushed the floating system across the world. And one of the problems I think Ghana has had systemically is from the economic reform program from the 1983, where we switched to the floating rate no. As to whether or not that government could have done something different, I think so. But a problem has been there for generations. ebi at the for Rebecca Wasem. The person make Wasem and they say if we build a reserve in gold, a bit more seed, the answer is a categorical yes. If you build a gold reserve, can it help the currency? The answer is a yes. But can you do it when IMF I say the answer is no. So if in the regime IMF is driving your economic policy, this dream is probably a dream keke, because IMF the structure is to push a floating system which is self-correcting. Inti say uni reserves are see the best for balance. Inti actually in this program they emphasize say our CD is overvalued. But no currency in the world is a pure fixed and I say a pure floating. A lot of currency say afanunimi enuno obi anya a strictly fixed obi anya a floating
into wake kakra.
That is why policy in managing here. It's not about say a fixed system and a floating the intelligence to be on the market and to regulate. Maka what happen say failure of policy into na for years is falling significantly. Maybe I look at some statistics on gold. I want to correct that and then I'll go to the inflation issues. Minim baby only figures from the World Gold Council. This is Daily Graphic published an article on 5th May 2024 or publishing the whole list of reserves globally. US Nedikai, Ghana to 74 with 8.7 metric tons of gold. Globally, yet also 74 now yet on your 8.7. Yenim said Dr. Bawumia MPP say by July 2023, no, because of gold purchase, no, they had gone to 17.3 metric tons. The data as of January 2024 does not support that. Yeah. It will be good to know where they are getting the data from. They are even suggesting that they've gone to about 34. I don't know where that is coming from. Yeah. But the World Gold Council suggests, and it's on Daily Graphic, to say World Gold Council, like you see it right now, is 8.7 metric tons as of January. So as to the July figures, maybe our month figures, no, MCOE is not validated. If that is the case, that's a different conversation. But inflation, I have a chart here globally, but I will not belabor that. Other countries are my inflation was show average from 2020 to 2024. I have that data here. Over Ghana, on the average, we're doing about 20% globally now. This data is April 2024. Until we're about 22% on the average of 2024. If you look at different other countries, less than 15 globally. Yes. Starting from Myanmar, Sao Tome, Uzbekistan, Zambia, Guinea, Mongolia, Bangladesh, or mate Mercosur. On the top is Zimbabwe. Inflation is 560%.
That's right.
But Zimbabwe is the only country in the world gold. The currency is pegged to gold.
Good.
So if that is the solution, about saying that Zimbabwe is the only country where inflation is 560%, but it's the only country that is pegged this currency to gold. Again, that's a conversation. I'm glad to hear what he says. Now, the problem we're dealing with is not an inflationary problem. We're dealing with a stagflationary problem.
A what?
Stagflation.
Okay.
And inflation, stagflation. And this is an economic term. All the economic people, who deal inflation, prices, by the economic growth, employment, inflation with some of the other markets. And your problem, inflation in itself is a problem because Nyama bo kosho, but Nyama bo kosho, na juma kosho, na ketia kosho. It promotes growth. In some sense, that is why country be a 0% inflation rate. Obia a target 8%, 8+2. Inti obia pay about 10%. Say Nyama bo kosho, say obia be kosho. Nyama me ensan ye dealing with. The first one, your unemployment. Into productivity or obia take them unemployment rate. My personal view that the figures cannot be correct.
Are they?
Oh, eja, okay, say unemployment rate 14%. I mean, Ghana.
It should be more or less.
Oh, eja, what the check 50 my dream. Unemployment near underemployment. 75% crowd there check. My dream. Right? Youth unemployment is probably for every computer science certificate. We're doing everything to get him a job. I'm just saying, I'm not going far, right? It's not only him. And me person name from Kacha was me page one. The point is the first problem we're dealing with is unemployment. Because nipa be brain judgment. They don't add to productivity. Generally, our productivity is low. Until productivity was formed, na ejuma e mind was formed, na go kosra. That means it would lead to the second problem, which is economic growth beba form. Because after we import BBR, which will now bring your CD no beba form into ube creating what we call a vicious cycle. Into nyama bo kosro, aketua eko form, nini eko form, but CD folly into enkosi aseno. Not be diaspora, and that is exactly where we find ourselves. Inti Okache me say, well, the growth no na auto ade 100 ochna obeko na 150. That is what 54 basically means. Say ade ni 100 mudro no ochna meko no 150%. But say no, yes about 100 150 no mekoto 150 na about 150 multiplied by 20, that's ubebumu be nu na back on the back home. Until instead say be 300 ako 150 no, e be ko 125, 175. Until ana 170. Until say no, e be 50 na e be ka ho biem
70.
But 20
But 20
na e be ka 150 no na na 170. Until 20% means we are boa bedru no, the e be ka ho no e na salty. It's a good news and we should like, because of course if it was 54, but the real problems are that, as I'm saying, any inflationary problem, any inflation, the problem is not only inflation.
It's a dinner so says, yeah, many when I'm a problem. I see a two solution. I sense I would see some more kind of, or say a copege and the CD, the currency of the gold in as a for example, I might say Zimbabwe, or more year been some inflation was sort of chain, or maybe inflation. Nature say, some better than Yadia. And secondly, God no cry said yes, I go to the then it's uncle maybe that the antiquan man for and yeah, the idea so you to be case no the baba boy Abraham to me it to say I did critical situation when we Nancy a queer film di kakra o me seminar bi Emma on pay for no can say even though I can mess I am of Bermuno is kasam na I said near my ye kakra na monu ye mon pai say bibi fufuro bi nkonkoba se na covid ba ya ebubu ye koso yi no so oha kitikiti bi koba na se na ho de nkura nu covid a ohwe si kasan betiti apansa ma
last week na me kan say last 2 weeks say 2026 2027 se Ghana will be ya yen starting me ho because when the principles of the domestic debt exchange no drew in common way ya we be dibien nti you don't even need an external shock. By 2026, 2027, so I buy no bebam no one focus in common way. In 3 years, 4 years.
You do a brochure no say see
you know, because you see you know by that time now Drew saying what would be your total debt stock by 2026, 2027 the issues will be stuck. Yeah, but we say then yeah me go studio ha nyema num na metwe my dream one misusu say me nkọ adwene no misusu say etimi ya nyama numwe and fa only MPP ni NDC eti obi omanpanyi bi obetimi asa nyama numwe no Ghana bia insisan no ye hu no in 1 year but in 4 years Ghana was significantly changed eja me my dream de edikan merit based system de edikan here foreign currency na how they are here just a political way to say me appointing me party for nkwa na be adwuma onim no track record or A or B or FIFA or no na be adwuma no a merit system that is based on collaboration. Yen find people near NDC in some mentonche. Yen tina table was a Ghana ebo. Near Busa unim yena ya say yena yen debate. Let's find the merit in the system. That's number one. Merit and collaboration. Yatosu mienu eja efficiency and respect. Nyama make we na $100 now there you. You just need one leader who says a free me. The mayor appointing must be strictly based on merit. It's not about my party. It's not about any person. It's strictly on merit. Number one. Number two, efficiency and respect. Yet not on my penny programmer. You know, 3 hours. Multiply 100 people there to 3 hours by 3 hours now. My penny bano. Add it to productivity. We've lost almost 1 day's work. Into efficiency, reform in public sector. Obi continue job and a graphic on every. What it takes, and I don't think any of the parties has the political will to do that. Reform public sector. You don't need ministers more than 30, if not even 20. No. But you see, again, the discipline to do that, I don't see any of them being able to do it. Say, I will strictly reform public sector. I will do whatever it takes. I will run a lean, efficient government. I will respect time. I will show up in time. We will increase productivity. That's number two. Again, and who will hear foreign currency? Who will hear BBR? Number, there also me and some a policy based productivity. It's tied to the second one, but enkosi se Ghana for Diano. Obi be ye juma wa how the nisika beko. How do we promote our own? How do we make sure say Ghanaians own the economy? How do we make sure say Ghanaians are leading in manufacturing, in services, in education? How do we make sure say Ghana is for Ghanaians? The resources of Ghanaians are for Ghanaians. Ghana, everybody has equal opportunity so that we can move productivity up. And on the answer, there also accountability and corruption. I will appoint on merit over jail. One of the things I am hoping, and I'm hoping said Dr. Baumia would also say it, we've had a lot of scandals in this government. We are hoping, in as much as MPP buy or prosecuted and investigated past government and people are in court, I support it. I hope the next president will hold any former or current person to account. One of the things that with time I've learned to appreciate was Obika Sobenya 1 million ewa Baima Yera Mahama Pamno. I was one of the vehement critics of Mr. Mahame's economic policies. In 2016, I thought the country was worse. But it would be ingenious on my side and dishonest on my side to say that time was not better than this time. And I don't belong to any of them, right?
But they didn't contain anything.
That's a different conversation. The point is, then there's also accountability. Yeram Hama Pam Obia Osi Obepe 1 million keke. We've seen SML, we've seen PDS, we've seen all those other scandals. I am hoping that whoever we vote, whether it's Baumia, will hold them to account. Okay. Also, which is it's a stable currency. So you see the now and stable la. The Rebecca in our own beshi. We can build real capital. Into who said there and yeah, Yaman me abawe, me tell me na. Je me measure numi na no take on na meto amano. For now, minyaya because I ding, but overall, you also to aba into beto aba. But Yaman numwe na me measure and Misusu say Yaman numwe Ghana would definitely be better for it.
Me da say, Your Excellency, what's here ya wonsa wa kan ya wa ka say on the so say aban obo betu sa na mon na betumi aboa. Do we have that political will say baby be etisa? Isan say so nipa na betumi ayem ko ade a say yamane babaye. Sorry, me can we dey be say asam so say abanyima bebre na egu. Abanyima bebre enra na nansana me no bi di nkomo. Na oka cocoa processing company. Egu. Bibi ti say produced by company PBC. Egu. Enye honko a because am bobo bebre alu works na sefo san nyuma ni nyina e kofam egu. Enti no ye benya political will na beka say NDC mo ababan mu. Ni enum say MPP ni we betuma ye adwuma no ya mfa mana anye. Enti mboto safra ni so na no ma ye adwuma no.
Yo, Jacob na. Sitting here and listening to the two young men, I'm beginning to change my perception of fear for the country. My fear is generated by the fact that 2024 election way, the watershed for Ghana. Now, Obia winning political power, our Ghana politics would have a Kenyan experience like 10 times. Yeah, I saw my Kane, Fatuo in 20 years, play it. Sir, a baby after 2024, I would the Ghana by NPP and this, It doesn't matter soldier for war. It doesn't matter a Supreme Court judges are one. There will be an opening of the people's anger.
There will be.
Why am I saying this? So, me the economics no mission yache. Timo fashion for you become me. But I'm speaking from the point of view of a father. And as a parent be the ba penny every school. Bear 10 years, what if he? The second born, I bet twaso. And then the third girl, so I bet us woman that will feel woman yejuma. Okay? And these boys and girls, they be a brown envelope, ekuta woman sem. Now woman na ministries, woman na baby. Now one betu money after cantonments, Roman rich. Na adaya kasibe bre, esisi wo. Are you following me? Sir, inquire me saying, Echo say, ye be soldier for appointment, the judge, Muslim copy beer. Yes, you need party card, yen foul. No, a buffy. They are that down here, a employment fair. Now, and could I cost line a hair no we picture betraying a war. American embassy basic cantonments. Send over here a employment, a recruitment to air work. Hey yo, say you do two who say yeah education reforms. Ama we are producing more graduates. One money baby in far. Eja pompo uni pompo. E hunu aye den. Pai. So over here, John Mahama. He started with the Building Ghana agenda. And now, I'm one of the proponents say, Chief, it is not about NDC now. It is about resetting this country.
Yeah.
To be honest, and the Casa say resetting the country. And one of the things we have asked him said, the first 100 days, NDC are not a year, so on problem. He should call a century 2. You understand the first change? First change in economics. One fair a national conference of all Ghanaians. The youth will be there, this one will be there, that one will be there. 10 days. 10 days, one month to develop a Ghana agenda. Because, look, every 4 years, in the NDC, the one manifesto about 1 year 10, no major hall, MPB, 1 year 10, no major hall. Say, and Kayano can one ever implement it. Why don't we call to say we can say call a national summit or congress? Alexander Martin Great Transformation Agenda no MPP manifesto no so NDC manifesto no so then we say we are developing a Ghana agenda. Yen currency from how do we solve it?
No baba, so we will make that call. Because we have come to agree, say, the political class, we are losing out with the people who make us who we are. All right? Sir, me to be on contact. Me need teacher be na yejuma. Me need sawo. Ho ye mo fa krom.
Oh, okay.
Be on contact. And me need teacher be na yejuma. Na say e be na yejuma. And no we local champion je be election ya atwaman. No be MP. The next 6 months I ban one the land cruiser we shepe. Na incredible down no fa no ko ho. Wo ko fuom. So we twam so a no bo nsu egu no ho. For how long can the political class
think that the people who make the hood there are fools. They are sorry. They are better radio and television, so trying to find all manner of argument to preserve our position. Chief, they do Real Madrid by Manchester somewhere. Football is there and one goal. What the Ghanaians want to see is say we did a planting for food and jobs. What is the outcome? How many jobs were created?
So many.
So many is not a figure. Chief, but
MPP has claimed they brought 2 million jobs, that they've created 2 million
Sir, we are planning for food and job.
Sir, I am sitting here. I am sitting here. Ochina me call Takoradi. Now, if you are flying from Takoradi to Accra or Accra to Takoradi or vice versa, now our water bodies, your water bodies say and then Ghana for your promises a baby warm. Then there cyanide any mercury na yanum. I consume a punumpo. And then say matu abasa me Ghana ni. Na meto incident and a mercury na menum. Na yes sorry come now. Sir, friends say good for air. They one policy.
Say Dr. Baumia.
Ghana
policy. A binding policy.
See, we should be careful here. We should be careful of assigning success and failures. It's a Bank of Ghana policy. What role did Baumia play in the good for oil? When you know when the signing agreement, we want that policy published.
Part of economic,
and that's a neutral national body.
Chief,
no, it's a government.
Chief, if it's a government economic policy, don't assign it to Baumia.
No, but he's spearheading.
Well, he's the head.
Yeah.
So the inflation rate, so the currency fluctuation in Baumia.
It's coming down.
I agree with you, Master.
It's coming down.
Chief, I person may avoid this. We are not debating here. There are people watching us. Minim say now we program one. My sister was South Africa. Was say last time now to now huge phone from South Africa.
Me research.
Inti Mr.
Sabukasa. Say be say asemi obi aka no. So why na say be Google na
let's try to avoid. In fact, the worst performance here last week. Worst performance about what the year no. We can it was last week. Let's avoid it, Master. Now listen. As a Ghanaian father, nase meba mama daruma my free SHS ema wa makobi ofi free SHS you were then so ko university na wo kona university admission fee grant won to me go school ni bia as a country yen you know so when the policy drops say obisi I'll take a look at the university admission fee. Now say on outlining policy need entire grana. What you do is South police will the way can why the way can say the catching can the way can and the day
yeah.
And now it is not about listen to me all politicians. It's not about the fact that we are going to have so much money. Say you better posters, you better billboards. It is not about that. On friends say mark my words. From March 2025, Ghana will not be the same if we continue to do what we are doing.
Yeah.
Are you following me? This was the last time a friend said fuel shortages near there. Look, meanwhile, so catch them off as if they will come out with different data. And says, send them they be there on their phones. Me can't send phones, but I'm going to say that. Oh, I said, I can't correct. Oh, Chris, why? I said,
yes.
And Chief, as political class, both NPP and DC, or who are you? start thinking about Ghana. The political ideology say Ghana, it is dangerous.
Yeah.
The winner takes all now.
Winner takes all is overall, but property owning democracy is a democratic system. You try in those days and it never worked. Property owning, it is America for you say if they are property owning, it's just an impact on the war means of creating its own wealth. No. But if in Ghana our property owning is taking state lands and converting it for public use and private use, personal use there, then where are we going? One more see one more member no. One more as one making TBM. One more see one more member now. One more awele a year. Achimota for it. One more member. One more first can go try uncha a driver compound. So one more member. One more could try a driver compound. Achimota for it. No more shall be Ghana for bear. In India and other countries, we call Landina. We got to parks. Big parks.
We don't have any now.
We don't have it. And everybody here, I say, the last tree dies, the last man dies, isn't it? Where are our trees?
See, do you have been saying?
Your
Excellency.
If you are planting trees at the same time, signing an executive instrument, say forest reserves, young mining woman. The bend in here 2024 no. A preserve your climate. Okay.
I have some
listen. MPP and NDC and GTP or whoever you are. The youth of this country can never be stopped with political slogans anymore. The youth of this country, I know what I'm talking about. The media, who you people have also egged us on. Oh, where you're better. You are part of the problem. The media, you are part of the problem. And then you are media man, you $1 million a month.
$1 million.
Cedis and dollars. Cedis a month. 1 million cedis a month.
Oh, cedis. No, he's correct.
$1 million cedis a month.
And what did Dipa?
What would the Dipa?
250,000 every week. Yeah.
We are all taking the blame for bringing Ghana to this point.
Okay.
It is not about inflation moving from 52 to 54 to 29. I'll say you're born and you're Ghana's resources are we should be running as single-digit inflation.
Okay.
Ghana's resources are we should not be doing planting gold for oil. The last time we said gold in what Ghana has is here. You try community mining. And normal. Last time beside when man also be check. Who when they tons our gold community mining gold, you know.
When a ton man. Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mrekuduka. Wano ena saa hihye no okoda okobia no bribia enti honorable Mrekuduka bebia obia no patcho from Monday ko ne be fro ne bisawo say saa gold na aye community mining na yesi ye no gold no hwan na ye ton de ama no e sebi esi to hwe ne ye ano ene ye bre no so but there are very, very important issues we esi to hwe ne discussion sana ye be sorry ya sorry ye nim say sorry na say ye campaign koso pa na ye tete ensem bi ba ku menu mi ensem bi efa campaign messages campaign platform sama ye keka ene ye tete sa na asamba ko a ye bedi hu komo onuya format opoku prempe ono so campaign message a na se campaign ahodo a wo ye ene ne nsema odo bi a wo kan ye efa Dr. Kwame Nkrumah se be kai Kwame Nkrumah se ma o kan ye no amanfo ye mfa ne se bi o se ye gina no si bone na nya adwen bone so no kan no nanso hu se be ye bibiri ema oko enzima ekokoba akopa nana no chew sɛ enye sɛ bi obu osagefo anim tia ene me bi etete saa ekɔ osagefo kuro mu ma mo nyina gina wa watu eka sɛ akoda ye bɔne a ye mpono nteja waka sɛ wo paache wa ya to ne yi but wasan and make statement bi about same Kwame Nkrumah ho bi after the apology and this anya manema no mo me ntie se do se ka ne tiawa na fe yemra ba sima minu bi enfadi nkomansa ne yakwa ndisi fo gi na se o masie se wo mo enko iPack wo mo sign peace pack na se fo no yakwa no so eso se video na ready amada roma mo mama na yentie
say yeah party dey na no me chance you Kwame Kasem United Party there who Progress Party who PFP who MPP and I know me say
one for kotono
tubo e be duro o mo free shame by na no me
okay
very far problem na o di na not People's Party but this is o mo friend na ba e na no me and not for come come and love to the you have to do you change water rate capital free home for the so what were you doing for two in California for so bad in California party in fact Muslims are all Ghana and also don't think so good also take party and the United Party it's a kind of fool party I thought I said before the ever as I think you know and you the chairman in California I'm not it was a you bought I could be sure what say the opinion free and no buy your client the party Mako kete krache, mako apomufi, mako akrape, mako ninjabi, mako gamashero, mako wasamefi, mako ahanta, mako nzema, mako esikado, mako sekendi, mako kumasi, mako yendi, mako dunko, nature. Actually, you can't afford it. Obi dey for the car semba. And I make catch you say, can you give me miracle? One person like a call the crook of pedagogy and a Dr. Baumia about free new patriotic not the People's Party or Cassie free people come. Or so me and Chimon Pussy and you and if we break to home, I don't say or buy and for better than your own papa. Wanka
Rahila Lema baby, Dr. Rollins baby, Dr. John Ajekuku for baby, Dr. Bakuno, Dr. Atamils, Ebeye Kaka, Dr. Okay. Rahila Lema baby, Dr. Rollins baby, Dr. John Ajekuku for baby, Dr. Bakuno, Dr. Atamils, Ebeye Kaka, Dr. Okay. Rahila Lema baby, Dr. Rollins baby, Dr. John Ajekuku for baby, Dr. Bakuno, Dr. Atamils, Ebeye Kaka, Dr. Okay.
Political campaign abereso na sanse mi nyina esi Dr. Napo na kaye utie nkomotwetwe di kan na o kan se osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah kamia se ahemfu bi ya ahemfo bi o Ghana ha no otunani so omusoma ebinum kra akomo ye adwane afi Ghana ne amahodo bi atete sa na ebinum se aden na Nkrumah upon se wakokopa mo cho se bi omu nanim che ne Nkrumah den pa na waye nti a abri bia no ye de Nkrumah din na eba mu enu ya sem baako afa sem baako abinum kan se o kan se o mampenda damas baako na wawuo no om se ye nhyeda obi a sabio yatete no ewo anya bibi hunu bia keke se ahemfie no ne kasa no aya na nsem bi ho a yenka nsemfo bi ho a yenka mfamfa nipa bi ho enti obaako na wawuo no who is that obaako na wawuo no ene ehun semsem no ebinu se we na se we de nya sebia bebinu so se yasem pa yima utie ne sem okaye efa ahemfo awo metifido mantamu ne nasefo de de tete sa se nasefo sa Nkrumah sem a ebe no wugidi se eye bibia se ye to aso ye esan se okodua se nyina Nkrumah eye obi a wɔso mboma wiase nyinaa nti ya yɛ Ghana for na nkɛse yɛtumi so no mu kra wa tu ne yɛpagya no ma no kɔ soro enti ba metie dia wo so wɔka ɛfa saa asɛm no ɔpɔn sɛ wakɔ pa kyɛw ɛwɔ nsema ne important mu no sima enum 5 minutes.
All right. Eja.
Ima.
Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I think there cannot be any other leader in Ghana like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The electricity we enjoy in this country, na napo be energy minister ohono. Se Nkrumah na se nka Nkrumah nya, nka napo. Until be your opportunity I be koye energy minister mebwa. Look at the other infrastructure. Your motorway cry nansa me for kiti maminya accident. Look at the years Nkrumah did it. Government upon government have not been able to add a single lane to talk about even adding. So media napo be the campaigner. I will have this simple advice for him. Or you Nkrumah free ne numa ebeboano. Because to me, they say the okay no akwara kodi boni no okopatwa say mpenyifo they say munjino wa to muntu nunchuni. But when you go and do an apology and repeat similar things, it means that it is only part of you. But there are certain things that come to play. The sense of entitlement napo exhibit it's not good for a politician. Of say, or free baby, he's entitled to so many things. And in Ghana, if you're a politician like that, you can't go anywhere. Money has never won anybody political context. And I'll tell you, how Kufuor broke the gene of the NDC and brought MPP to power in 2020. Okay, Kufuor humility. Me kai oba saboba at the time na me yakwala no or drive smoky Volvo bi mpabokra no she. I still remember even when he became president oba saboba nkrofo kai say enye papa we no oba saboba mpabo na etisese no. It's humility. Until the political handlers or MPP as a party need to talk to Napo because his communication style is not adding anything to the fortunes of Alhaji Dr. Bawumia.
Nessa a history. Abako sam na no aye nti no. Sabako sem bi wo say so tumi chirechire mu. Uso ka sem say party no kra na enyakopon fi so be chirechire.
Me bow. What is history going to bring to the political fortune of the party? Here you are going to tell the good people of this country, you've been in government for 7.5 years, mebwa. Are there why? That's what you should trumpet. And what you will do when given the opportunity. History. Now, you're a historian. So a medical doctor.
Oh, I said yeah, history there.
History. When you are even talking about the history and you are not saying it the right way. To say Ghana today, we are divided as a country. Nkrumah being a founder and Ghana having founders. To the point that we are even established holidays. Taking over the old one. I understand your mama said he's going to bring back the Founders Day.
The 1st July as a Republican
day. Look at the economic defects it brings to the country. The number of holidays here. Republic. Ghana, you have too many holidays for political expediencies.
Very bad.
Share Nkrumah Muslim mibwa. Say ekodru procurement on be your a discount kakra no Mrs. Kasen kra no omude that over $5 million mibwa. Obi a mun jini di so na the founders of the country no. Why will you waste the country resources so more renovate the place is resting? And to me there is true. People worked and they brought the guy. But he made a significant impact, and everywhere in the world it is there. India, Enya Gandhi,
yeah. In India, we have Kwame Nkrumah Avenue. a street.
Yeah, I'm coming there. Even if you go to many African countries, almost free Ghana, Nkrumah comes to bear in the Omba Bisa say, hey, from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's country, they just Google share Nkrumah videos when he represented Ghana in international fora. They asked him some tricky questions about ONU, AU for Africa and Ghana, and look at the way he answered it. So, look, we have to stop the political patronage and the The next thing is any handlers, to be honest. I think Napo needs good matured political minds who can guide him. People who can constructively criticize him. Not people you put around him, everybody is doing yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. That is why he continued to make this kind of mistake. Somebody should be brave to tell Napo that, look, the political office you are looking for is not a small office. You can't continue to do these kind of things. And it comes to my final point. Did Napo really prepare to be the running mate to Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia? Because recent statistics have shown that after he was selected as a running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the fortunes of the MPP in terms of the voter rate has dropped.
Yeah, no correct.
Oh, the statistics are there now. Internet don't lie. Internet don't lie is there. So, media, I like Napo. He's a very intelligent young man, and I admire him from the days he came from London and came to Ghana's parliament. We saw him as the beacon of hope for the youth in the party. But since they all here there and boa party.
Me dance. Your Excellency, my also. Utie ni the comment here yeah. Binum so you referring to obobodi na wankai na okoka say bakuna wawu no. Sa comment no binum say wanka ni you refer odipa ho. Oh papa ya wawu your friends. Say I refer to normal.
No, I see there we no. It's very instructive. One say back, I see there we no.
Enti mami ntie ne okonzema akọ ne nanam ko kasa ko enkrofo ene enkrofo ko empanifo ko kasa say yeso bud osagifo ne mutia na anu achi wasan ababaye binu se de obeka ye no ay se de wapa chawo so no cha no wapa no kra no wasan de nia oka no apipegu mami cho simanum ansa ne yakomo nsam no so.
Jacob, now there was a problem, but I am happy, sir. What I learned way back when I was a little boy in the Young Pioneer, sir, Nkrumah never dies. At that age, you know, now you're in TSA. But has the name of Nkrumah died? Chief?
No.
Has the name of Nkrumah died?
Not at all.
Every year.
We are missing him.
Every year, out of our own activities, you know, we bring his name to the fore. And it's going to continue forever. Because a normal Kwame Nkrumah here with the giant. Me here say, yebe no, nache. You see the irony of history. Yeah, na woman na omo post Kwame Nkrumah na yankopo ama omo kwan na omo aba abaye government. And when they come, they try to arbitrate bibia eye Nkrumah no. They try to clean it, but it doesn't work. Sabuba, when you say you learn from the university when you took Kwame Nkrumah, the books in United
yeah.
Now it's so difficult
to get his books.
All his book pack from US.
US, yeah.
On mind by and actually history.
History, yeah.
It could be a wrong history, but it's still part of
our history, yeah.
And then to me, I can say, Achampong is one of the best presidents. Comparing him to what we have seen after him.
Him, yes.
But the truth of the matter is that, you see, Nkrumah never dies. And this year, throughout this year, any activity to downplay Nkrumah has made the people's repulsion and Crawford resist it. And your demonstration. But once you bring it up, public commentary faces you. Then kada na po inaugurating na okasa mo Kwame Nkrumah na. But in any case, I love my Kwame Nkrumah. I love my Kwame Nkrumah. Nka okasa mo Kwame Nkrumah. It's not any say issue. But in Kumasi, people said no.
No.
You misspoke. What can say ye? Sewoka adia Kwame Nkrumah yema Santimana. Nobody has done it for Santiman. He, Kwame Nkrumah, elevated Asante above all parliament chiefs. So you cannot use the name Kwame Nkrumah for this nonsense. Excuse my French.
Because you want to be vice president.
Excuse my language. The most serious aspect of Napo's utterances, and yes, I feel. Now, if we have a vice president who cannot stand on his feet and think through the things he say, no baby, then we have a problem.
As a country, yeah.
Say better na hey we kasa na we be can next time being right now. If we have a potential vice president original stage, yes sir, now we have a problem. But the most dangerous aspect of it is the revision of our history in the wrong way.
Especially under this government. Any
government or any person whose claim to life and popularity is his history is a fool. Because young Kolano, who papa say, me do go school, I will walk by dia, me year no a chain. Yes, I have Papa Kai, who come over how you don't count. Was in sit that way, right? And then so who cause who see that Casapama, you are a fool. Because Kolano won't be done. Why is it that at this time of the year 2024, at Ghana, your economy are collapsing?
You're talking about
our city is whatever. The most important is that Napo is going around chiefs, trying to reactivate a certain war of nationalism. We all know the history of Kwame Nkrumah and chiefs. And Kwame Nkrumah, being who he is, put the chiefs into their proper places. Did you see the row between Domahini and Asante Hene? Is that something that we wanted to encourage?
No. And it's also my bomb pie, my count, you say, yes, I'm paying for
now you have a vice president. You have a vice president.
Aspirant.
Mako, a vice aspirant. Mako Domahiho, Mako trying to galvanize the chiefs. To do what? Is Ghana not a Republican state? Is Ghana not a Republican state?
Yeah.
Therefore, the fact of your coming from Ashanti means nothing. If nobody has told him, let me tell him. The fact of his coming from Ashanti means nothing. Because listen, since 1992, NPP has always produced not less than 40 MPs from Ashanti. Not true or false. What have they done? It took Asante Hene to beg for to develop your Confederation Hospital.
Yeah.
True or false? True or false? And no more crime for the pot. It took Mahama Pepeni 10. It took 10 to build a fence saying Kumasi KGTL market.
Yeah.
We continue to emphasize it because we had a regional minister. You remember his encounter with Akamba?
Yeah.
One tough war. And now, regional minister. One tough war.
You are inciting, also inciting
please. I'm just quoting what the regional minister said. And this is the last time for your greatest respect. Listen, it used to be the slogan.
Okay.
Sawunkaya. Now, immediately, Kotum Mabama Pepe Nisei. Sabuba, have you forgotten?
Not at all.
Today you have gone round. And when the regional minister was insulting in Tafward, when MPP people were saying, me and Twabama in Tafward, did they remember that Baumia was only a tenny?
Okay.
So, my point is this.
That's it.
Now, post friends saying, Pata Wafa about using chiefs you know, we have seen a certain movement, but we will teach them and show them that Ghana is a Republican country.
Okay, but that's it.
So never mind, say, try say they will undermine the Republican status of Ghana. It's a very important.
Me that's it. Okay, sansemi. Obi beka say akwada de wo ya opa ho che no nya bio. Na obi nim say na asem oka na abakosem na na o kirekire nsem mu. Nti we nya say bi say ye fa na say bia. Yes. And so obi nim so kire say da bi said dia nkroma no. Anhwe yi a o kine bi na betumi de haw bi aba. Anhwe ya cha na akokọ pai no kwa se cha na pai no fa so obi antumi amaso. Sense akoy se bi abo akura, asabe akote kutre na janan. We are not the baby at our so pam, none now are useless. Semenum.
I don't go Rameda say, me co school cacao, Buchina, o share a choir, a crano, faso, a dog mumai. Na obit me cruel, a sacrificing a home, a diamano mine. And I may busa or more dainty and a sign you may air cosa. Or say bassa or more a dream. And now say Bibi or at the state dear, na say ubin to me more a whole buyer or more tries or bobo at the side than a whole buy based on their history. And the history is very, very important. We call me bring me back when you feel now or any as some family meeting or more. And akra no omo kana akra na ka omo kana aka na me yana say I don't know we discotielen ne che say Dutch ka say akra ye nyinya no omo say no onye nyinya no e was so ma akra so space no so timika ne nsem oye de eka by Ghana no de hu ha de say akra no bia meeting bi koso na akra no hu nim dia ye custom no e kire ze panyimu ni akra ko edi nkomo ni kwa so do no kra kotu and it has happened to me and my family, small family, quite has happened to. There was a time and I'm near take a decision. Me small boy no. But because of say you involved with so many conversations and accepting decisions, no. What you say, Daddy? Side we are no more person money for I think say we ni say beboa. You tie no, you tie the ayakra ne kan no. Yeah, and indeed that was exactly a year no say yeah. Now history. As someone you were napo eke. Yeah, or recounting about the history. We need to know our history. For me, as NPP, I communicator. Many who say he's inciting the citizenry, and I say other chiefs. Say omon konkonkoye bibi, and I say the say is the kakako. Was we share a new man? I mean, can be say N1 or yeah. Akusubu and na poor benefit. Yes, of course. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and you can't dispute that. But you also ask yourself, you do a correlation. And we say, Sao Brenna or yes, I know my no Ghana, na ye kase ye confess ye say. Ghana your resources ne say. Ghana your cash at bank and cash in hand ne say.
What has that even?
Oh, they so why we? So I'm telling you the resources that was there.
It's what has that to do with?
Yes, it's just
he asked me the direct question.
He's talking about
look at the MPP
about Kuma projects me and you more year. So I'm also referring him to that say never been na yes your old man. Simon was with me preparing money.
So in 8 years,
we had no debt. And that's what I was saying.
Something billion.
We had no debt. In Kuma area, we had no debt. So if you had debt, you can prove to that.
So
fast forward.
So now, that's why we are not able to develop.
Now communication. You see, yeah, sometimes maybe I'm penny for say the or two buba boa tada kote. What two buba bon crowd say be no kra nyina say do jan check say we need no digital. Always Ghana we are preaching against tribalism. And we know a political party. Our mothers had tribal a year by. We all know. And they know themselves.
Name it.
But that's what we know for LDC. We don't say NDC tribalism. Why women?
And give evidence.
Why women?
You are saying Mr.
Ah, you Mr.
What do you normally do?
Maybe some questions.
So many instances are NDC have agreed. I'm now 50 quote general secretary. Eko General Oka say we know the MPPs that they don't like the Northerners. They are using Bawumia as just a scapegoat. And at the end, what happened? MPP went, we voted and give him an overwhelming endorsement. Is it not a tribalism? Yes, so many, but we don't want to go to that target.
And see, the poker here.
And the poker no.
For Nisa Oka, I am for Ghana Hano. Any dia working.
The American say a history and it's there.
Into history and Okano.
Oh yeah, it's history, and we all know.
Obi some question.
History is there.
Nkroma na yeka no nkroma na nimu wo poster no so bia e be beto abade ama nti bia nkroma
or utie say one cut that portion. Say butimi ehwe the whole year no kan. He was trying to build a point no their back to development from Fourth Republic up to date. A Bible no aba wetimi aye development e dia maye. That is where the man was coming from. First of all, I never heard the original political campaign a young worker. Even to mention, I can't say, ex-President Kufuor Krali, or Obondi grandson doctor, but we all know that President Kufuor is not doctor. Communication, the way I know, go mention name, was not fluently. But it wasn't say, you know, or Sawas Akran Wachad. For me as MPP communication member, na poker san wakano na on disrespecting the dead man. Even on no offer, ex-president Kufuor he paused and used the doctor cried, but meanwhile President Kufuor wasn't a doctor.
And you know and I say,
oh yes, I would say that based on the way I know see Kasa. No wasn't work the no one the president and no one do this. And I was 4 years. And he did. He mentioned that. And Argentina, I was saying NDC for me take his sideways out of context. Neither to die say the Baumia the Poacano. Then I say we know that
You see that the history of Ghana, I would say we need to interrogate that. And May Kajo said, May Per Kwame Nkrumah books, I had to order it. I have every collection of this. I did law, me a lawyer. One of the first cases I'll be a Riakoto. So there's an angle to it. About saying this tradition, actually Kwame Nkrumah, what is it? Yes, a PDA. Kwame Nkrumah so a Okasa or Mount Kabi. Now I chose work to prison. Akoto, who was the chairman of the NLM, who is deemed to be the person, JB was his lawyer, right? About me saying a secretary I have foul. Now him vote on my party I be my every brony in the shortest possible time. Shortest possible time no. Net, but yani omunka omoka ombeja mine na because indirect rule 1844 you sign a bond no. Omo colonialism no omo ye fire ensem into a minor obroni beti entem no divide and rule or they are for no epeche and then rule through them into the broni kwa ye na ya for or the mind be my or the maya but we are secretary ni what usua there brana be boaye na ba ne say na kwa ya fa say mobilize all of a sudden because of your powers you've what be your mind abo so aje your mind akinten so into finish saying
can be
now there's an article in 2005 205 it's a very seminal article which is PDA no na ye sword and na ye shield Kwame Nkrumah ye de born ho ban and now ye so di ku natanfo debate you can engage in that but me nso suye mu no say why na president ben and ye de flower ye de bomb e be she flower mu amana ku akra ketwa and ask yourself who are the people who did that and ask yourself all the assassination attempts on his life
Yeah.
and you are the president ask yourself so who coin so be bibia and don't forget at the time the judiciary and all the people who were leading the traditional states were the intelligentsia and so Nkrumah had a big problem inti you met me fault no 50 years now and say kabi and kabi or abeje o man akinten so but me busa say na shield and na so debate it if you agree it was a sword so be it but me susu yemu no there were so many attempts including a flower a bomb in a flower that killed a small girl right and that was the end of it for Nkrumah and so if you think say the PDA kabima or kabi and kabi or abejo man akinten so of ye yechin because of the JD Kotumu or the Akoto Kotumu ahemfo aye omo man wabeje fi omusam and is mobilized and so fi here let it be but na make ofifi fun ani ase obehu ni samai they to so me enu yes so I Ghana one party state me tell Dr. SKB Asante because no I think Nkrumah secretary
Yeah.
no say one day or no Kwame Nkrumah no come and say na day population of 5.something million people. Why are you insisting on a one-party state? You know, say Kwame Nkrumah catch and say, Sebi, omo nima there, no omo teacher on my me be ye no because say so no, omo nyina koye opposition for because obeto omo na aye lawyer for, omo na aye mpanyin for, enti opekwa bia ko omo nyina bom, but omo they are not coming on the table.
They are not willing.
They are not willing to work with him. They are actually trying to destroy him.
Sabotaging.
Inti, this is Dr. SKB Hassan. This is not me. Inti, the Nkrumah catcher and he said the reason for which he is doing that is said by only when you are there, but China one party state. You know, better table no. Let's disagree, but let's disagree from within, and let's build from within. Again, that's also okay. Eja, question they say. First time I Ghana call IMF here dabeng. It was the day after Kwame Nkrumah you two na there so. Who took that decision? Right? I think say Omaino and you see the clash of Kwame Nkrumah with chieftaincy. Besi and Maka on other platforms I'll say here. One of our biggest problems with the greatest of respect to Nananom is chieftaincy. My humble view. If you build a culture, sebi nipensia before nipa bako esi ni konso. Na benkum ni nifa ye nipa there. Na se sebi asemi American kra ebia because of the yamifi ebia ya chiwa there mabi ba papa ni ka asemi manage ho pa. Se on nifi oni ne yiri nkomo ne ba
be chere na adwene
ma na adwene oye ne ye ye hunu say India ni nyansa sebi entimi nwo ba ko 14 how do we create a culture yen peja nipa ba ko over yen nyina say okambia yen nka bibiem which is the biggest critic of Nkrumah say Nkrumah was authoritative and curtailed every opposition. Right. But that is a culture of chieftaincy in many sense. So ohinika wiasa.
Yes, sir.
Obia nkabi owotumi because of money and media. As a secular state, you cannot have the two systems running parallel.
That's true.
You cannot. In the 1992 constitution, in trying to solve that problem, and every constitution since 1957 has tried to solve that problem. 1992, in solving that problem, Article 276, see your here.
You don't do politics.
Only partisan politics.
Yeah. Now, what do you see today?
So you see, there are problems because in the nature of Ohineno, okasa wakasa wi but on my nyina chechire we need to debate fiercely and find the merit of ideas and yes I brand no ya hensem okay but me come eja me dey kasa be here come on you see the bigger attribute of Nkrumah for me is trying to build an identity beyond Ghana, building an African identity. Because of Nigeria near Chester, or because of Ghana near. Answer na Ghana man, not because of me asante actually. Me wo duan kwanta, me papa fi duan kwanta fi. Me ma me fi asante actually. Me aka ni intina make up, but me wo duan kwanta from Nezle. Okay. But a Jamaican man kosi me say. I will say you say Samia Santinia. We've now extended the identity beyond Menya Santini per se. Me a Ghana but Nkrumah was built. They said Nigeria ni say me who Nigeria and who Ghana, me who Africa first. Basically, we are trying to integrate our economies and you they say on many susadodo. Yanka moma. In all of this, no, our sense of Mia Santini, but my sense of affinity should be Ghana first before my ethnic affiliation.
In fact, now you what issue I say discussing about this NDC peace pact, you know. But unfortunately, your time, you know, we say and your chance and economy no so edgy yebrepa. It I hope say next week in Japan yadoma you be this and common na ya hwenti bebia wo bia na hwe kwan se be this and common yantumi ani no fache ye enye ye embre no edo bebia common bitumi eda sa ama etumi ka de se ka nyina.
Oh, but let me emphasize say yeah NDC for yes, we are not signing any peace pact. Okay. We are not signing any empty peace pact.
Okay. Mate.
We are not.
Or see empty peace pacts.
No,
they are not signing
it.
And no.
Next week we will give you reasons.
Okay. Next week nyako ponya adoma. E be sa pre na dwen sakre bia ba. E be tuma hwe na e di san komuni nyina. Minifa so Emmanuel Kuti, Executive Director at the Mass Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. Medase and afi Freduchi EKMP communication team no. And Yason Pansu Loyeni and financial analyst and afi His Excellency Sam Piali and so NDC professional forum no penia oda umano. Anopai ye de besia na yagya mokwan amamako na matadia mehye sɛ de bia meka no perfect man for na epam de maame na perfect man for esemi kan kyerɛ sɛ type bi opibia no ombenya bi de amount abiri bia nso no obetumi ama obi na wahyɛ ama ho ayefefefe enti mesrɛ wa sɛ obɛform number no type bi opibia kala bi opibia no osa ebetumi aka we de mpamcho mame mo number ni sisia na monfa na mo so monkoto mo de enhye fanchami enti mame hwe ewo himpo aha perfect man for number no we hia na me nye na me de me mobo 0244 147212 0244147212 eno any perfect man for number o to betumi afra no akokje wo de na wahye enne ayo bia woda we de mesra ma me fantwa mutaw na yen sori so enne nidi wahi
ayira
nidi watch ni tin so nidi happy birthday to the love of my life blah 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 where is the name nidi ni wahi fa together with JJ and TT we love you Queen of Andersons say no Queen of Andersons nidi yanka sane de wahi nidi
I don't know so back away
na say no chairman say me kan so chairman ko kasa me na mamu ni o si Queen of Andersons nidi yanka sansa enshada eli ti e wonyere ma nidi ni mremu me sisa semesi ona bonu jo na fe eno ano na ya hwe ya sori so akoyi meka semutiawa Boko Haram shasiye keten obia anka hwe
Ghana be team
obia anka hwe na video bi nam social media said the amanante anya kokoduro obi di bone otubi di phone si no so no watcha no that to social media should tell you something so unim security mu a ye ka bi a kire na say so obetu nya kokoduro se bi di bone na bone na media na kokom na mama nsan nyina ehu a no se watrap ito kwa na wo ko no enti ehye no so sa school girl bi e se kumakafo abaya bi student bi a yesi sabi wakofa oni ba me bi akwahye ba bi ti student no edi na eche no na mu video ebo no students ebo abaya no mo de ato social media. That should tell you something. I'm not saying what police ni as a police na den omo bu no ka kwan ho aye galamsey fuwe no. That should tell you something. Abrantie bi a okotwe tuo do ogina post po so ye be ma brana se for police for okotwe no all better social media no. That should tell you something. Ba ko na social media no na me hu ye abrantie no a site mining site and a pick up si ho and okura etuo and what address says combatants yi na wo mo de ne wo mo de ne ma share shop hini ne ma ne mai eno na ti gbogbo ma tuo no se de sabako po eno san ko gina baby to tell me say that should tell you something. Yet tete hu san ne bebe a so no na illegal mining no e da how bi abere yen ti se betena sia ma na yesa yen ko so nya ne sai bi di de Jakwabra ye ho ayadoma da se ne ye be senhia e da mu nyina se mamu ne hwe